We had two parastatals that collapsed almost simultaneously. One was the Kenya Railways, and the other one was KENATCO. They collapsed almost simultaneously, and we are going to see how they collapsed. We had two companies with the same initials, but both were parastatals. We had the Kenya National Trading Company, which was called KNTC. It used to do wholesale things and bicycles and TVs and radios. But if you were to buy a bicycle or a TV or a radio from them, you would be assured of a good quality, better than what was on the market. Today's people who are 40 years and below would be shocked if I were to tell them that you could not buy a bundle of rice, and you could not transport a sack of maize from your rural home to where you worked. You had to get a disease permit. You go to a roadblock, you find police and APs. APs used to check if you are carrying maize, and if you are carrying a lot of maize, more than a sack, you would have to produce a disease letter for carrying them. And if you carried a bundle of rice, you had also to produce a disease letter that you are carrying, and you are carrying a bundle of rice. Shopkeepers would buy a bundle, finish it, then buy so and so, of course with a permanent letter from the DC. But if it was you, you would go to the DC's place, get a permit, go to the Kenya National Trading Company, buy 12 times 2 kilo rice, then go with it. Don't lose that disease letter. Every roadblock, you'd have your rice, one bale. You'd have the receipt from Kenya National Trading Company. You'd also have a letter from the DC allowing you to. You'll do that until you reach, for those people who are working in urban areas, you do that until you reach home, hand it over to your family, then you can lose your receipt, you can lose your permit, and distribute the rice the way you want. So there was a company called Kenya National Trading Company, selling rice, selling bicycles, selling radios and black and white TVs, among other things. It was a government parastatal selling things. KNTC. Then we had KENATCO. KENATCO was Kenya National Transport Company. The other one was trading, this one was transport. Kenya National Transport Company dealt with two departments. One was taxis, Uber, which were strictly Mercedes-Benz. Although later the company ilipofilisika, they went for cheaper brands, but that time it was strictly Mercedes. And they had lorries. If you walk along Mombasa Road, you'll see these lorries that are written by Yusuf. They had such lorries. So although some private people had their lorries, Moi family had two companies that transported things. There was DT Transport Company, which belonged to Moi, and then there was also Rift Valley Transporters, which also belonged to Moi. Those two companies used to belong to Moi. Moi had a lot of transport businesses. He even had such businesses with Nyachai. Kabansora. You have heard of Kabansora? Kabansora, Nyachai came with Sansora, and Moi came with Cabernet, so it came Kabansora. So we had companies, private companies, even by Yusuf, they used to transport, but most of the things used to be transported by either rail or KENATCO. The reason is they were very cheap, and especially government departments, they would prefer railways, Kenya Railways, or even KENATCO. When Moi took over around 1979, a lot of his friends joined transport business. His friends went to DT Dobby, where they used to sell Mercedes lorries. Okay, you are given a Mercedes lorry, and you first of all, you don't even give a deposit, but you pay slowly by slowly. I'm trying to say I don't remember any of them defaulting or grabbing the way Paul Ngei grabbed a Mercedes. No, but if you get somebody who has no training in transport, or whose only interest in joining, he does not have love for transport or any other business, but he's only joining that business because of the returns. Obviously, that company will not last long. So his friends joined that, and his friends had access to tenders, government tenders. I can give an example of Peter Kibiego Lagat, who was the district commissioner of West Pokot. And if you remember well, he's among the last people Ouko saw before he died. Peter Kibiego Lagat with Simon Peter. No, he was called Peter Kibiego Lagat. Then he joined up with a Kikuyu person. I've forgotten his name, but his name was Simon. They started a company called Simon Peter. It was imagine supplying things in government institutions in West Pokot, be they prison, be they school, be they hospitals, be they what. Simon Peter Company had the monopoly. It is the only company that used to win tenders. They win the tenders because the DC is the chairman of the district tender board, and he is one of the owners of the company. So that is how these people came in, and Kenya National Trading Company, Kenya National Transport Company, KENATCO, died a natural death. As I've said, Mercedes-Benzes were a problem, so they went for cheaper vehicles. They used to pay their employees well because it was a parastatal, a non-profit making company. They had a lot of lorries which were not transported. They laid people off. They sold their lorries because you have 100 employees. You lay off 60. You have lorries which are laying idle. That is how KENATCO and Kenya Railways went down. Kenya Railways has only been saved with SGR. KENATCO went down. And lastly, you'll find that as you moved from Mombasa inlands, you'd find that one side of the road where things are being taken from port to other place, the road was mbaya sana. But when you check on the other side, which was going to Mombasa, it is most of those lorries which had already downloaded their things and they were going back to the port to collect more things. The road on one side of the yellow line was good, and the road on the other side of the yellow line was bad. And that is how Kenya Railways and KENATCO collapsed. Thank you.